Hi everybody! So I will be presenting my book and build activity that follows the UTEC model. I just called it Revere the Engineer, and you'll understand what that reference to. But first, I actually want to present to you all my snowflake. You can see on this slide a picture of my snowflake, and since I did not have a symmetrical sheet of paper that made a perfect square, I did have to use legal size paper, and I had to cut and adjust it so that I could properly follow the folds and make the snowflake that you see here. I always seem to have trouble with folding, but in my first attempt, I was actually able to make the snowflake. It wasn't too hard to cut, and honestly with with my sisters, I wanted to go to town and just make as many designs as possible on the sheet of paper. It was hard not to hold back. So honestly, it's no wonder that no two snowflakes are the same. You can really make so many kinds of designs, and I love this. It was so cute to do. Now, my next slide presents to you the cover of the book I built my activity around. The title for my book, my chosen book, was Rosie Revere, Engineer, written by Andrea Beatty and illustrated by David Roberts. Now, this picture book introduces a shy girl whose name is Rosie. You can see her in the title. She's usually quiet in class and just pretty shy, but she does have a secret. She loves to invent, and she builds whatever gizmos and gadgets she wants, only secretly, of course. She never shows anyone and is always hiding her creations under her bed or keeping them in the attic. Now, the reason she became so insecure about her interests and her hobby as an engineer was because of an incident when she was younger. When presenting her creations to her family, her favorite uncle, also on the cover, had actually laughed at the creation she had designed specifically for him. Now, Rosie took this to mean that, oh, he was laughing at her, when really he was actually expressing his joy. So through this misunderstanding, Rosie had kept her dream of becoming an engineer to herself. Now one day her great great aunt Rose visited, and she told her stories about her old profession of building airplanes. Her great great aunt never was able to fly one of her creations. So Rosie decided to do something about it. She decided to make a contraption that could fulfill her great great aunt's wish. And when she created a flying machine, it sputtered in the air for a bit before crashing down. Her great great aunt saw it all, and she also started to laugh. Rosie was devastated again. Only, this time, she was actually consoled by her great great aunt, applauding the flop and saying that giving up and quitting was actually true failure. So, Rosie gained confidence and was even proud to talk to her class about all of her inventions. She even created another flying machine that actually helped out her great great aunt's dream come true. Now, in my next slides, I'm going to explain to you the various ways that the UTEC process will be incorporated with this book. So for the using level, users are actually recreating what's already in place. They'll get experience, but they don't necessarily stray from the directions or the instructions that have been in place. They're simply experiencing what all others are and what those before them have actually created. So it's pretty repetitive. Now here, I would decide to provide participants with various papers, colors, or writing utensils. The paper would be maybe of different shapes and colors, and they could also be, thin like newspaper or stiff as cardstock or construction paper. But participants would then be instructed to fold the paper into a simple paper airplane, as you can see from my images. If the program is in person, then the participants can follow my lead and they definitely can mimic mine or others' creations. Now, if it's a remote or through a video or how-to video, then I'd have to be clear on how the folding instructions would go, as you can see from the diagram, the middle picture there. Folding paper may be difficult for little ones, so this program may actually have to be geared towards older children or maybe teens or tweens. The design that I would use would be very basic, just a basic dart airplane. Honestly, it's practically the only kind that I've ever made, as you can see from my third picture. The colors and writing utensils would simply be used to personalize and design their paper airplanes. Maybe even secure them. Oh, maybe if we would have a secure place or a safe place to test out our paper airplanes, so that there'd be some play, a play factor in this step. Now, next comes the tinkering level. So in the tinkering level, users are feeling around. They're making personal choices when creating, and you'll see just the beginning signs of exploration. Just kind of questioning that norm of just questioning the original instructions. And honestly, the more intricate designs that allows paper airplanes to soar and fly farther. Here, students would be able, or participants would be able to experiment with that or tinker with that. I would provide an opportunity for participants to explore the other various designs. So actually, I have provided a link to a site that actually lists out 47 paper airplanes, and it actually categorizes them by difficulty and by type. And honestly, I am going to show you briefly that link. It just leads you to here, paper airplane designs by Fold and Fly. I provided that link, but the fact that they have 47 of them, and of course over here on the left side, you can see the categories right there. And it's just so intricate and so amazing to see it all. Even the more difficult ones, I can imagine ever making an expert level, but hey, I'm sure many of the participants would love to explore in doing that. And also, what's great about this website is that at the very bottom of most of these, you're actually going to see a blurb or a tip allowing participants to actually better their planes whenever creating them, especially if they're more intricate and maybe it's a little bit more difficult for the plane to stay up or afloat. This website definitely helps out with any of those difficulties or any of the hiccups. And now on my next slide, we actually will have the experimenting. So for the experimenting level here, participants are purposely designing something. They're more than just curiosity at this point, but they have planning in mind to create and go beyond what was originally planned. So for the experimenting level, I would ask, well, what else they could do with the paper airplanes? Can they be attached or added, just as how Rosie included items like pool noodles, skateboards, and even fans to her initial contraption or flying contraption? So participants can add to their airplanes other than just coloring. They can include things like rubber bands, paper clips, staples, tape. They usually put tape or any of these materials on the tip, on the nose of airplanes, just to keep them stable. Also, they can even make new planes out of different materials. They can start doing that, like cardboard or wood, and participants can throw out many ideas. They don't necessarily all have to work out, because just as Rosie's great aunt had said, that true failure is when you give up. If a participant wants to make a plane attached to, well, who knows, just attach different things, just let them learn and see what works and what doesn't. And lastly, we have the level of creativity, to create. Now, this creative level spawns independent thinking and action. So we got new products, new designs. They're always thinking about just a better version of what was initially planned out. So here I would ask, what else can be created into a plane? Or what else can take flight? There are planes, or tart planes that are made out of wood, out of foam. There's rubber band airplanes, straw airplanes, even for the little ones, they definitely can be able to make these straw airplanes, and they take flight. It doesn't just have to be airplanes. I know I've been talking so much about these planes, but start thinking about the idea of what else can fly. There's paper helicopters. The diagram, my second picture there, actually shows you how to make a paper helicopter. There's also rockets. There's this craft that's called, a STEM craft that's called a shuttle launcher. And I found out that you simply take PVC pipes, a rocket that's really made out of paper tubes and just, or paper towel tubes, and decorate it. And honestly, it's fitted over the PVC pipe. And on the other end, you have an empty liter bottle. And from there, participants just pretty much stomp on the empty bottle, and the rush of air goes through the PVC, and it launches the rockets. I thought that was so creative and amazing. So that's another way for students and participants just to build more, just to think outside of the box, just start thinking of what else can take flight, and start thinking about more STEM components. And so that is going to be my presentation. I hope that you all liked it, and it was so creative to me, and it was so enjoyable being able to think about the different levels and the process of how to go about creating a program like this. It truly does take a lot of thought, but I did enjoy it, and I love that we were able to incorporate a book with this program. So thank you all. Thank you so much for hearing me out. See y'all soon.